Hey guys, it's Fanboy Hex, and I'm here at the 2018 Orlando MegaCon. So while attending this convention, I had to go through these safety checkpoints before I came in because they had to make sure that everything was legit. My costume, as you can see, it comes with a shotgun shell belt and also this shotgun prop to go with my costume. And I understand the purpose for that, it's safety reasons, but then it started getting me thinking about like all these mass shootings that have been happening in the country at schools and at concerts and so on and so forth, And it started getting me thinking about, what would happen if mass shootings were to happen at conventions like this? Would it stop people from coming to cons? I mean, I know I'd be on edge every time I come to these things now if there was a pattern of mass shootings happening at conventions here. But I know that some people don't feel the same way, and also gun control is a major topic that's happening in this country as well. So I started thinking, what do some people, or what do a lot of people at the conventions feel about this? And, well, on the matter at least, and here's what they had to say. Being that you are a weapons merchant, let's call it, here at this convention, how do you feel about, mass shootings that happen every week in this country, and, what's your opinion if, let's say a shooting were to happen at conventions? In light of the events of, school shootings happening, what seems to be every week, how do you guys feel about, let's say if shootings were to happen more often at conventions like this instead of at schools? What are your opinions if, let's say, a shooting were to happen at cons at the same number of times that it happens at schools? Being that you guys are in full tactical gear, I imagine that you guys are pro-gun and everything, so what would you guys feel with everything that's going on in the country with mass shootings happening almost every week or something like that somewhere in the country? How would you guys feel if there was mass shootings happening more often at conventions like this here?
I would 100%, I'd feel negative about it, obviously. However, do I see it happening? No. If you just walk around this convention floor, there's so many cops, so much security, there's so many checkpoints that people have to go through just to get in here that I feel as though it would be a safe environment.
Same here. I wouldn't be discouraged. There's plenty of police presence, and I don't think that it would discourage me in any bit.
I would be very upset if somebody was to come in and bring a live firearm into a situation like this and actually open fire and something like this. There are safety precautions in place here where they actively check for people and make sure that nobody's carrying live guns or ammo. And I'm one of the few places that's actually allowed to have weapons that look this real in here. Most of the times people are not allowed to bring anything in that's not like foam or made out of cardboard.
Gun control is a little bit of a touchy subject now. We've hit the point where maybe gun control does need to be reformed for a change. It's getting to people that shouldn't have a firearm are getting them too easy. Kids are going into their dad's closet, and if they're not locked up correctly or the kid has a key, they're able now to get a firearm that they're not in the correct mental state to use, and they're going around and doing terrible atrocities. So we do need to change something. I just don't know what the correct answer is.
I think that gun control would work better if it was more similar to cars, where the driving test and getting all of the same steps where you have to go through the tests so that we can make sure that the only people that have guns know how to use them and are capable of using them.
But it is a concern with the situation and the stuff that's going on nowadays, and you always got to be aware. Like, I'm a concealed carry permit carrier. I'm a licensed detective and a executive security guard in Atlanta, so I'm allowed to carry firearms in a lot of places most people aren't. And a lot of times you'll notice here there's a lot of police walking around, and then there's a lot of undercover police that you don't even see, detectives and stuff walking around in here. So the security here is really high.
I think that it's important to know what kind of guns are accessible, like things like automatic rifles and military grade. I know there's been a lot of stuff with the ARs lately that they're not necessarily needed for any reason. So those kind of guns don't need to be accessible to everybody when they were intended just for military.
Maybe stricter background checks, or people that have those mental issues should either be getting the help that they need or not have the access to the weapons. But as far as it goes, limiting the capacity of magazines or what type of guns you can buy isn't going to change anything.
Well, personally, as a gun owner, I would say that as long as someone is trained and knows the difference of when to use it, I think it's perfectly fine. It's just more of knowing that it is a dangerous thing. I kind of treat my gun like my car. It's a dangerous object, and it's going fast. Regardless if you're going to use it for intent to harm or to kill, it should never be used unless it's a life-threatening situation.
But a lot of times at schools and other places where it's a gun safe zone, you really don't have the level of security that you have at a place like this, where they've actually got, you know, bodyguards and security walking around, armed security people walking around the facility. Whereas school's kind of an open target. Some of your malls and your venues, like concert venues and stuff, where they don't have a big police presence, you're kind of an open target there. And in that particular situation, in those situations, I believe that every American has the right to own and carry a firearm. And I'm talking everybody, according to the Constitution. I think that if everybody out there was knowingly trained and knew how to operate a firearm and was, you know, we had the presence of that, that a lot of this stuff would go away.
I'm kind of in between. I have to go back to her comment with it is balance. It can be used for fun. It can be something that a lot of people enjoy. Like, I've shot guns before. I enjoy it. I don't own a gun, and I don't really plan on ever having one, but I get the kind of both sides of it. The problem is it's an overall for everyone, and if everyone can't do that same kind of balance, then there should be at least something more to protect all of us together, as we are one.
What would you say then, like this is like a zombie scenario that you got here, what would you say about for the people that they say that things like this in video games and movies encourages violence, and that's the reason why there's so many shootings happening in this country? What would be your opinion on that?
I understand that for the younger kids, that they don't have, you know, the knowledge of right and wrong, and they see a lot of that stuff, and it's kind of glorified, you know, killing, you know, and that type of stuff in it. And I think it becomes then the responsibility of the parents to kind of monitor what the children are doing, what they're watching, where they're getting their influences from, and to take an active part in what they're doing, and to, you know, kind of view and look into some of the things they're doing. Some of the things they're being taught, some of the things that, you know, some of the groups they're a part of. When I was growing up, we were, you know, in the Scouts, and we had a shooting merit badge where we actually learned how to shoot a firearm, own and operate and fire a firearm.
As more violent characters, I think it's important to understand the difference between a character and real life, you know, having fun but still making sure that we're staying safe and we don't bring guns here anymore. And so it's, yeah, finding the balance and knowing what's playing and what's portraying a character and what's actually dangerous.
I would say that people are naturally violent. It's internal. It's evolutionary, essentially. So if anything, watching a violent movie, air quote, or playing a violent video game can help release that, because people will get mad at pretty much anything they do. But when they get mad at a video game, they're just getting frustrated because they're playing and they're not doing great. It's not playing a violent video game that's making them frustrated and angry and wanting to kill other people.
I feel that way about Battlefield, so it's like, damn it, I know I shot that guy, why?
I know, man, but you can't live on walking around on eggshells, you know what I mean? You can't let those one or two bad seeds prevent you from going out and having a good time, you know what I mean? And just embracing a culture that you love and respect, you know? That's why would something like that stop me? No. And I don't even, no, there's no way. There's no.
You can't control everybody. If somebody is mad, upset, and wants to shoot somebody, they'll find a gun, whether it's on the street, legal, illegal. So the people that do have guns that do take care of them shouldn't be penalized for that. But these people, it's just like drugs. They'll find them. They want it, they'll find it.
I was raised in a family with firearms. I've had firearms and been carrying since I was a teenager. And, you know, I know the responsibility of a firearm, but I also know there's people out there that shouldn't be carrying firearms that have firearms, because I've witnessed them, you know. But there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it, and a lot of education that needs to go into people who actively want to carry a firearm or want to be around firearms, and there's just not a lot of that out there.
So what are you going to do? It's a catch-22. You're stuck. But people that have guns should be allowed to have the guns, and they should be trained. They should have a concealed license permit. But somebody who is mad enough they want to go shoot somebody, they'll get a gun somewhere. And there's nothing you can do, and it's sad.
Granny
it's very
Pool
sad.
pulls it off.
It's sad.
Unfortunately, not a lot of people wanted to participate in that questionnaire. I guess also neither did the security staff here. They didn't want to participate in that because I guess it's a sensitive topic. So it's understandable. But, you know, we'll continue this video maybe another time, or at the end of this clip